and I approve this message.
This is Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 6. Coverage you can count on.
Stealing while on duty. Tonight, a 23-year veteran of the DeLand Police Department has just resigned after this video surfaced of him stealing donations from a Goodwill store while in his patrol car in uniform. 58-year-old Bryce Miller decided to resign before his superiors could decide whether to fire him.
The former officer is accused of stealing from Goodwill at least twice. Channel 9's Blaine Tollison is live in DeLand tonight, and Blaine, Miller says he took the items to help a needy family. What's going on?
Yeah, but police say he was personal friends with that family. Behind me is the drop-off location where police say he stole from Goodwill. Officer Bryce Miller violated the public's trust according to his higher-ups, and he did it twice, scooping up donations from this Goodwill on Woodland Boulevard, all while wearing a DeLand Police Department uniform and while driving his patrol car. The store brought this video to the DeLand Police Department.
The loss prevention manager from Goodwill Industries of Orlando brought a surveillance video to us and said, you might want to have a look at this.
When they did, it triggered an internal investigation that began in May when Miller got caught. His own department questioned the veteran officer.
He spent 23 years serving the community and doing the job for the public.
He told investigators that he was taking the donations to a needy family, and a Goodwill employee gave him permission. But they found out he had a personal relationship with the family, and no employee gave him permission.
It's unacceptable behavior, and as the chief put it earlier, we're not going to tolerate it.
Miller has been disciplined at least twice before. He has been suspended without pay on more than one occasion for not taking reports of crimes and leaving them for other shifts to handle. Now Miller has been forced into an early retirement. The chief of police did recommend termination for Miller before he retired. The Goodwill here decided not to press charges, so it's likely he will not face any criminal charges. We're live in DeLand in Volusia County. Blaine Tollison, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Developing at 6 from Brevard County, a Titusville police officer is hospitalized tonight after a dog attack. We just got this video into our newsroom, and you could see officers trying to round up 2 dogs that appear to be pit bull mixes. We're told the officer was bitten after getting out of her patrol car responding to a 911 call hang-up. She suffered bites on both of her legs, but we're trying to find out just how seriously she was hurt.
And tonight we're continuing to watch a tropical wave off the coast that could bring heavy rain to us this weekend.
Meanwhile, we've already seen some on and off rain this afternoon in Orlando. Certified Chief Meteorologist Tom Terry's in Severe Weather Center 9 with an update.
That's right. Had some heavy storms. In fact, 2.5 inches of rainfall, which is now just a light shower across parts of Orange and Seminole County. Still raining from Maitland Boulevard down I-4 right into downtown Orlando, but we don't have to go too far. Look at all that heavy rainfall just east of Miami. That's where a little tropical wave has been flaring up today. In fact, the Hurricane Center does have a 20% probability that it may develop over the next 48 hours. It may actually develop once it gets into the Gulf. But either way, it's going to move over South Florida over the next 18 hours and bring us a better chance for some rain. So we have a lot of things to talk about, plus the latest on Ernesto and the complications with that system in the Caribbean coming up.
All right, thanks, Tom. Covering Orange County tonight, a newly released 911 call is revealing more about a car crash involving the son of Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer. That call was made by a neighbor who saw what happened. We broke the story on Sunday that 17-year-old Drew Dyer was driving this black Infiniti when he blew through a stop sign and crashed into a house in College Park. He eventually left the scene before police arrived. A neighbor who called 911 says she thought Dyer was, quote, probably intoxicated.
I just recorded an accident. These young men have just run their car into a house. Did they leave the scene? Well, no, they're actually hovering around my car begging me not to call the police, but they ran their car into a house, and they're young, and they're probably intoxicated.
Neither a breathalyzer nor a blood alcohol test was done on Dyer's son. Police say the case is now closed. He was cited only for careless driving. Mayor Dyer told Channel 9 his son had not been drinking. Now, you can hear the entire 911 call online. Just go to our website, WFTV.com/video.
New at 6 within the past hour, we found out the attorney representing an innocent man who was shot by Lake County Sheriff's deputies is planning a news conference. Andrew Scott was killed last month in Leesburg when he answered his door with a gun after deputies knocked on the wrong door. They were actually looking for an attempted murder suspect, Jonathan Brown. down. High-profile attorney Mark James says he will address reporters this Monday about the case. However, he is not saying what he will announce. Tonight, we know more about a man who was taken into custody for making threats during President Obama's visit to Orange County yesterday. Channel 9 was the only television station there as this man was loaded into an ambulance yesterday after deputies surrounded his apartment building with guns drawn. Investigators have only said he made a threat that Secret Service agents acted on.
Some people take the wrong step and make the wrong choice, no matter who they are. So he made a wrong choice. Feel for him. I hope he gets the help that he needs.
We checked with the Secret Service and the Orange County Sheriff's Office today, and they still have not released any new information. The man is being held for psychiatric evaluation.
We're waiting to find out tonight if a Seminole County woman who killed her husband will go free. She's using the state's controversial Stand Your Ground law as a defense, the same law that George Zimmerman is expected to use for killing Trayvon Martin. Anita Smithy claims she shot and killed her estranged husband as he raped her in her Oviedo home 2 years ago. Channel 9's Melanie Holt is live at the Seminole County Courthouse tonight. And Mel, Smithy fought back tears in court today.
She did. She wiped away those tears as prosecutors played videotaped statements she made to police after she shot and killed her estranged husband. Anita Smithy's attorney says the 43-year-old Oviedo woman shot and killed her estranged husband in self-defense.
There is no evidence in the record whatsoever that she did not act in self-defense.
Prosecutors have charged Smithy with second-degree murder for the May 2010 shooting death of Robert Klein, and they want Judge Kenneth Lester to deny a motion that would grant Smithy immunity under Florida's Stand Your Ground law.
So did Anita Smithy reasonably believe that such force was necessary to prevent imminent death? And the answer is no.
Smithy's attorney, Rick Jancha, said his client was being raped, and when Klein turned his back, Smithy grabbed her gun from a nightstand and placed it under a pillow. But prosecutors told Circuit Judge Kenneth Lester the defendant was inconsistent in her statements to police and lacked credibility.
I should have never cocked that gun.
Smithy said Klein came to her home unannounced for sex. She said she gave in because she didn't want to fight. She said when Klein was asked to leave, he put a knife to her throat and raped her. But prosecutors say that doesn't explain why she admitted injuring herself after shooting her husband.
Why did you stab yourself? After I saw you on the floor.
Smithy's attorney argued that she was subjected to hours of intense questioning after a rape.
Let this nightmare end for her, Your Honor.
Attorneys have until next Friday to file any additional arguments, and then it will likely take that judge a few days to make a decision on whether or not Smithy will have to face trial. We're live here at the Seminole County Courthouse. Mel Holtz, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Now, this case and George Zimmerman's are drawing attention to the state's controversial Stand Your Ground law. The most recent poll shows that most Floridians support the law. 65% say they think the law is fine the way it is. However, 18% want the law repealed, and another 16% believe it should be modified in some way.
Tonight, we've confirmed an Orange County deputy accused of groping a disabled woman has been fired. Investigators say 56-year-old William Martinez, seen here when he bonded out of jail, inappropriately touched the woman during a call. Detectives say they found at least 3 other questionable cases involving women Martinez met during calls for service. NASA chose 3 companies today to continue building what could ultimately be the space shuttle's replacement. Boeing CST-100 capsule, Sierra Nevada's Dream Chaser shuttle, and SpaceX's Dragon capsule were all selected. The 3 aerospace companies will receive between $212 million and $460 million in federal funds for the job.
New at 6, we've found out that just because certain intersections in Orlando have red light cameras now doesn't mean they always will. The city has recently started moving cameras from one intersection to another. Channel 9's Raquel Asa explains why.
Jennifer Geske knows to take her time when she goes through certain intersections in Orlando.
You don't enjoy getting a ticket, that's for sure, and it was my fault.
But we found out just because they're here today doesn't mean they'll be here tomorrow. Earlier this year, the city removed 7 cameras from these intersections, including Division and Cayley, and at South and Westmoreland. We looked at the numbers and found crashes at Cayley dropped nearly 40% since 2008, and at South, 100%.
Where we see that kind of improvement, we get to a point where it just makes sense to take them out.
And move the cameras somewhere else where crashes are high and red light runners are known to break the law.
One intersection that won't be losing the red light cameras anytime soon is the one here at Conroy and Vineland. The city has 3 sets of cameras here, but so far the city has only seen crashes drop 20% since they were installed here 4 years ago.
We'd love to see it taken out at some point, but you know, so long as that crash rate is so high and the red light running rate is so high there, it's a dangerous intersection.
Anthony Lair was caught twice by red light cameras. He told us removing them will just make the intersections dangerous again.
But as soon as you remove them, people are going to know. We all know they're there. So they're going to go right back to their old behaviors.
Reporting in Orlando, in Orange County, Raquel Asa, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
The city told us it will go back and analyze traffic data at those intersections where they removed the cameras just to make sure crash numbers don't go back up.
Tonight, crews are getting closer to cleaning up the debris from the demolition of the old Amway Arena. We shot this video today of what's left of the old arena. Compare that to what the arena used to look like before it was blown up in March. The entire site is expected to be cleared by the end of this month.
Dozens of people in Seminole County lined the streets of Winter Springs and Oviedo today to say goodbye to a fallen soldier. They stood solemnly watching the funeral procession for Private First Class Brendan Salazar. He was killed last month in Afghanistan. Most of those along the road today had never met the 20-year-old Army private.
Ultimately important. I mean, our servicemen go over there. We go to work every day. They go to work sacrificing or risking their life.
Private Salazar was buried with full military honors this afternoon at the Florida National Cemetery in Sumter County.
Commit a crime and get kicked out of your house.
Next, the new Get Tough program local apartment complexes are starting to use to lower crime.
I'm updating Future Track 9, how this strong tropical wave will impact the weekend.
Doppler 9 HD radar is driven by
the new Toyota of Orlando, I-4 across from Millennium Mall.
Channel 9 Eyewitness News continues right now at 6 with Bob Upsall, Marty Salt, and Chief Meteorologist Tom Terry.
New at 6 from Seminole County, the small city of Oviedo is becoming a hub for an international crime prevention program.
Law enforcement officers from around the world will be using the Oviedo Police Department to help set up crime-free communities. As we first reported last year, Orlando has set up some of those communities, and today, Channel 9's Tim Barber checked to see if they're working.
Oviedo only has a small handful of apartment complexes, but most of them are turning into crime-free communities. The program teams up apartments with Oviedo PD, which does background checks on new residents and trains landlords what they can do to kick out current ones who commit crimes. It's being used at the Oviedo Town Center, where Rex Acubella has lived for 3 years.
I like it, you know, because it gives us a sense of security.
But Oviedo is not only training local landlords. Sergeant Kim Mojica is also training law enforcement officers on the program from all over the world.
Anybody who gets involved in this has the same tools to help push the crime out of the apartment communities as well as their communities.
The officers give the landlords this form, which lists the crimes residents are banned from committing. Then residents sign it, and that makes it easier for the complex to kick them out if they break the law. Oviedo has 3 apartments signed up for the program, but Orlando has nearly 20. We found out that since it started the program last year, local apartments have already evicted hundreds of people suspected of crimes. Still, Rex says it's worth it to keep crime out of his community.
If people want to stay in a certain complex, then they might have to kind of think twice about their actions.
Reporting in Oviedo in Seminole County, Tim Barber, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
And the residents who are evicted for criminal activity are not allowed to live in other crime-free communities.
A prank call led to a tense situation in a Palm Bay neighborhood this afternoon. Police responded to a house on the northwest side of Palm Bay after getting a call that somebody there had guns and explosives and was holding hostages. Police initially detained a man inside, but officers later determined that it was a fake call made by somebody else. For the first time, we're hearing from a member of an alleged white supremacist group called the American Front. In May, Diane Stevens and a dozen others were arrested. Investigators confiscated all kinds of weapons from their Osceola County compound. They were accused of preparing for a race war and planning some kind of disturbance at Orlando City Hall. But Stevens told us American Front is really just a social club.
I have no idea about anything to do with Orlando City Hall. Like I said, Mark and the rest of us were nonviolent.
Stevens told us she believes white people should only marry other white people, but says she is not a white supremacist.
Tonight, the latest numbers show gas prices are skyrocketing again in Metro Orlando. According to the AAA, the average price for regular unleaded is now $3.41 a gallon. That's 8 cents higher than last week and 32 cents higher than a month ago. However, gas is still 15 cents a gallon cheaper than it was at this time last year. People who go to the Magic Kingdom at Disney World can now get Wi-Fi access for free. The theme park giant quietly implemented the free service on Wednesday. Disney plans to start providing free Wi-Fi at its other Orlando theme parks next year. Meanwhile, the work continues on a major new attraction at Universal Studios. Today, Sky Witness 9 HD flew over the site of the old Jaws ride. However, park officials still have not announced what's going to replace it.
Covering news where you live county by county tonight. In Seminole County, a man convicted of raping and then murdering a 19-year-old girl is scheduled to be sentenced on Monday. A jury found William Davis guilty of murdering Fabiana Malave back in 2009. She was kidnapped from a Longwood car dealership where she worked. Davis could get the death penalty. In Volusia County, investigators are looking into the cause of a fire that broke out at a nightclub in New Smyrna Beach. Emergency crews were called to the Beachside Tavern on 3rd Street around 7:30 this morning. Firefighters were able to quickly put out the flames. And in Orange County, the University of Central Florida will hold 2 summer commencement ceremonies tomorrow. More than 3,500 students are expected to graduate. With this week's graduations, UCF will have awarded almost 235,000 degrees since classes began in 1968. You were one of them.
Yes, I was. 263,000 degrees. That's what it felt like outside today.
Before the storm started.
That's right.
And I think the last time we had a big outdoor event like that, we had some rain. And tomorrow, Mother Nature trying to dish up more storms. We still have some light rain falling in downtown with a low to mid-level cloud deck. We'll still keep scattered showers between now and about 8 o'clock, then mainly dry and just humid toward daybreak tomorrow, and that's when we're going to be watching a tropical wave closing in on South Florida. Here's our time lapse. Still have a few showers. Couple of storms now weakening quickly. Things really got popping early today, and because of that, we're still left over with some showers, but no heavy storms. So an umbrella for another hour, and you'll be okay after that. Pine Hills. Here's downtown Orlando, Silver Star Road, Winter Park. Still tracking this tropical wave, which is now showing some fairly strong thunderstorms off of southeast Florida, and this is significant because, as you can see, look at this huge expanse of moisture along with it. So I don't think this is going to have a chance to organize before making landfall in South Florida. We've talked all week about this tropical wave moving over the state, and that is still the case for some weekend rainfall. And I just updated Future Track. This is our current outlook for tonight. A lot of heavy rainfall out here toward the Bahamas. Watch the forecast model. We'll stop in the morning. Notice how it did close off one isobar here, so it may be trying to organize a little bit before making its approach towards southeast Florida. Chances are low, though, that it's actually going to become a system before making landfall. But I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff happen here in 16 years, so we're going to keep a close eye on it either way this weekend. But tomorrow, rain starts to move onshore, moving from east to west over central Florida, and then we'll get some coastal showers in the morning on Sunday, and then Sunday afternoon, another round of some rain. So a good 60% rain coverage both days this weekend. This low gets out in the Gulf of Mexico. It may actually have a better chance to form when it gets west of central Florida. But either way, 60% rain chance, locally heavy downpours. Nothing to cancel your weekend plans about now, but just keep in mind, especially toward the afternoon hours, we may have to duck inside for a little bit to get away from the lightning. Along the coastline, this is live view through Daytona Beach. The winds and waves have picked up a little bit. The water temperature really cooling down here, almost 10 degrees below average because of some upwelling. We've had a steady offshore wind, so we've kind of been churning the water just a little bit. Still watching Ernesto. Hurricane hunters flying through. Really not that impressive with the system now, although it's flaring up a little bit with our satellite representation at this time. Still moving toward the west. Still a lot of uncertainty exactly what's going to happen with Ernesto, and we'll have the latest advisory for you coming up tonight at 11 o'clock. Suffice it to say, Ernesto still on the back burner. Our tropical wave, though, bringing rain this weekend. 5-day with the weekend in view, showing a good chance you'll need your umbrellas this weekend, Bob.
Thank you, Tom. The Lake County Sheriff's Office is facing questions tonight over a picture posted online.
Somebody snapped this picture of a jail inmate pumping gas into a deputy's car. New on Eyewitness News at 10 and 11. Why the Sheriff's Office says there is nothing wrong with this.
Right now on WFTV.com, our severe weather team has their eye on the tropics as Ernesto moves through the Atlantic. You can track the storm's path 24 hours a day in the hurricane section. It's under the weather tab right now on WFTV.com.
It's been
Welcome back. I'm Joe Kepner. The Florida Gators are suddenly in need of a wide receivers coach after Aubrey Hill resigned today. Hill said he was stepping down for personal reasons. He once worked for the University of Miami, though, and was connected to a Hurricane recruiting scandal just last year. Meanwhile, at UCF, the Knights' first practice in full pads starts in about 20 minutes. Former starting quarterback Jeff Godfrey left the team after last season, but came back as a wide receiver, now catching passes from starting quarterback Blake Bortles. Yesterday at Media Day, Godfrey said it was a difficult transition.
It was pretty hard when Coach broke it to me, but I looked to myself and said, whatever I have to do to make the team get better, that's what I want to do, and it's been great so far.
All right, local Little League softball players are heading to Portland, Oregon next week for the Little League Softball World Series. The 12-year-old team from Windermere practiced today. They leave on Tuesday. They're trying to raise $15,000 for the trip and will be at the Publix on McGuire Road in Ocoee tomorrow. This is the first Windermere team ever to advance to the Softball World Series and the first team from Florida since 1996.
It's a once in a lifetime. You only get one shot at this in an 11, 12-year-old division, and like I said, they did it their 1 year. There's, what, 120 girls that go a year in the entire world, so that's quite an accomplishment for these 10 girls.
Good luck to them. Quick note from the Amway Center. Because of scheduling conflicts with the Orlando Magic, the Orlando Solar Bears have had to change a few dates for their inaugural season. You can find the complete schedule on WFTV.com. As for the Olympics, Michael Phelps did it again, winning gold in the 100-meter butterfly, his 21st overall medal in what will probably be the last individual race of his Olympic career. Bob, Marty?
That's amazing.
Superman.
Thank you, Joe. Now a look at what we're working on for Eyewitness News at 6:30.
Here's Vanessa Welch and Greg Warmoth.
More jobs were added, but the unemployment rate still went up in July's jobs report. Why there are mixed feelings and what President Obama and Mitt Romney have to say about the numbers.
A Seminole County judge is deciding whether to give an accused murderer immunity under the Stand Your Ground law. How the suspect describes the moment the shot was fired.
Thanks for watching Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 6.
ABC's World News with Diane Sawyer is next.
And for updates between newscasts, check WFTV.com.